Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. I know it's not Tuesday, but today I'm going to be doing a very special tag. The BookTube community is reeling right now with the news of the death this week of a fellow booktuber, Alice, at Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. While I didn't know Alice personally, I've been following her lovely channel for the past 4 months that I've been here on BookTube. And today I was tagged in this original tag which Alice created back in 2021. I was tagged by Melinda at A Web of Stories. Melinda, in response to a lovely video by Elisabeth at Boekens and Books, took up the call to bring back Alice's tag from 2021 about Agatha Christie and her detective Poirot. Christie was Alice's favorite author. And as a way to honor Alice's memory, Elisabeth suggested that we might want to do this tag again and to spread it around again. So Elisabeth, thank you for your lovely video, and Melinda, thank you for yours and for tagging me as well. So there are 10 questions. Okay, so number 1, prompt 1. Poirot is a detective who is extremely proud of his achievements. In The Mystery of the Blue Train, he announced, "My name is Hercule Poirot, and I am probably the greatest detective in the world. If not Poirot, who is your favorite detective, and what book do you recommend featuring your favorite?" Well, Melinda talked about Armand Gamache and in the Louise Penny novels, the Three Pines novels, and that would have been my favorite as well. I'm a huge Louise Penny fan. But I'll say something different for the purposes of this tag. Probably the mystery writer that I've followed the longest is Amanda Cross, and that is actually the pen name for a literary scholar named Carolyn Heilbrunn. And she wrote the Kate Fansler mysteries, and I think there are 14 or 15 of them. I know I've read them all. I don't know if I have them all, but I have a bunch of them. And I have been reading these since I was first introduced to them in, I'm going to say, the early 1980s. And what's kind of fun, at least for me, what was fun about these is that Kate Fansler, who is the detective in this series, is an English professor. Okay, so she is a professor, we're told, at a very prestigious New York City university. So, I mean, the author, Carolyn Heilbrunn, was a professor at Columbia University, so I think we can probably assume that that's where Kate Fansler is also working. And Kate is married to a gentleman named Reed Amherst, and he is the local district attorney. All of these mysteries have, they're almost all in an academic setting, and they all have something literary about them. There's the James Joyce murder, the Theban mysteries, excuse me, And I'm going to say that this is my favorite. I'm not really sure. I like a bunch of these, but I know that I loved this one. In this one, Kate Fansler is called back to her high school, which is also a prestigious private school in New York City. And she's called back to, as an alum, to lead a seminar for the young ladies there, a seminar on Antigone. And while she's there, there is this sort of tragic unfolding that kind of, in a weird way, parallels Sophocles' stories. All of the books have a literary undercurrent to them. So if not Louise Penny, then Amanda Cross, I would say, is one of my favorite mystery, or was one of my favorite mystery writers, and I'm going to go with the Theban Mysteries as my favorite. Okay, number 2. Hercule Poirot famously uses his little gray cells to solve cases. Have you ever solved an Agatha Christie mystery? And if yes, which one? If no, is there an author whose mysteries you have solved? I think not. I read a lot of mysteries. I don't think I'm particularly good at solving them. I'm sure I've never solved an Agatha Christie mystery. Number 3, The Mysterious Affair at Styles is the introduction to Poirot. Recommend a first book in a series where you met one of your favorite characters. Okay, so in the Amanda Cross series, the first book, and this one was written in the 60s, and she wrote for, a good 40, more than 40 years. This is the first in the series, In the Last Analysis, and this has a psychoanalytic as well as a literary undercurrent to it. And this was the first in the series. And if we are to go with Louise Penny and the Armand Gamache stories, Still Life is the first in that series. Okay. Number 4, Murder on the Orient Express. Agatha Christie wrote several Poirot books set on different types of transport. What is your favorite mystery set on a train, plane, or boat? I'm going to go with, and I don't have a copy of it, but this is a great book, Patricia Highsmith's Strangers on a Train. Great book. Number 5, The ABC Murders features a killer working their way through an alphabet of victims. Recommend a mystery involving a serial killer. I don't know if I can really recommend this because I was traumatized by it, but the first thing that came to my mind was Thomas Harris's The Silence of the Lambs. And I used to have a copy of it. I'm sure I donated it because the book and the movie both absolutely terrified me. Number 6, Dumb Witness. Bob the dog helps Poirot's investigation in this one. Can you recommend a book where an animal helps to solve the case? Well, during March Mystery Madness, I read a book called Ghostly Paws by Leanne Dobbs, and in this book, cats played a very important role, and one cat in particular was instrumental in solving the mystery. I have already donated that book to my public library, but that certainly comes to mind. Number 7, Five Little Pigs, also adapted as a play, Go Back for Murder. Poirot solves several cases in his time that have been closed for years. Which is your favorite cold case? Poirot? If you don't have one, can you recommend any other authors or detectives who have solved a past cold case? I didn't know about any Poirot cold case novels. I wasn't really sure about that, but what did come to mind was Kate Atkinson's Case Histories. This is the first in her Jackson Brodie series, and in this book there are 3 cold cases being worked on simultaneously. So that was the first thing that came to my mind. Number 8, Dead Man's Folly, is famously set at Agatha Christie's own holiday home, Greenway. These prompts are wonderful. You know, Alice read every single Agatha Christie novel written. What is your favorite murder mystery setting? Well, the Louise Penny books are all set in a little village, a little Canadian village called Three Pines, and I would say that is certainly one of my favorite settings. Another setting that I love is the Benjamin Black mysteries. They are set in Dublin, and I have a bunch of these. And of course, Benjamin Black is the pen name for John Banville, and he now writes his mysteries under the name Banville. I think he has left Benjamin Black behind, but I have a bunch of the early ones that are when he was, and they're all set in Dublin. And this is when he was still writing under the name Benjamin Black. I read one for March Mystery Madness, and that was, he was now writing under the name Banville. This is another Benjamin Black. So the Dublins, these are all Dublin stories. Okay. Number 9, do you have a favorite Poirot mystery? If not, tell us a favorite mystery you've read recently. I think my favorite of Poirot is probably the first one that I ever read, which was, I think, back in 1980. And that was The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. And I know I have a copy of it somewhere, but I couldn't find it. But I think that was the first one that I read, and it has always stayed with me. So I'm going to call that my favorite. How many Poirot books have you read? If you've not read any or haven't read many yet, which do you plan to read next? I was looking for a list of the complete Poirot novels, and I think I have read 12 of them, so not nearly as many as Alice read. Okay. And then finally, please tag anyone and everyone who likes Agatha Christie, Poirot, or mysteries in general. So I'm going to tag Angelia at Read and Reread, Renee at Beyond Books, Marilyn at Marilyn Maya Mendoza, Gavin at Genre Books, Gareth at Books, Songs, and Other Magic, Steve Donahue, MJ at Reading This Life, Ollie at Criminally, and Farah at Bookstalgic. I know she's doing an Agatha Christie reading the complete works right now. Okay, as always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.